Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Morning,
everyone.
ma'am.
Am I audible and visible? I'm facing certain issues on Teams today.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you are
Am I
visible and audible.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I
Yes,
don't
ma'am.
know. I'm getting disconnected again and again. I hope the connection is stable now. Okay, yes, finally. Seems so. So yesterday we completed our discussion on teamwork and leadership communication. So before I go over to the next topic, that is, I'm going to begin with non-verbal communication today. And of course, its correlation with the members in the team and leaders and also in general. But before we do that, I'm going to share a link with you.
Ma'am, will you get the syllabus of minors?
When are your minor exams scheduled, Parth?
31st and 1st.
Sorry? Okay, end of October.
Yes, ma'am. And first
Is
of
Parth Batra present here? Is Parth Batra present
Yes, ma'am.
in class?
Yes, ma'am.
Parth, did you leave the class early yesterday?
Yes, ma'am, because I had some technical issue.
So, are you not supposed to inform? Parth,
Ma'am, I thought I will be marked present because I hardly attended 15 minutes only.
no, then how did you assume that you will be marked present? You leaving the
No, ma'am.
class early?
No, ma'am, I thought I will be marked absent.
No, but this is not the way, no, Parth. I
Yes,
called
ma'am.
up your CR because I knew you were there in the class answering the questions, and why your name is not there in the list. You can't be just, you
Ma'am,
can't. If there is a technical issue, at least inform the teacher, at least inform your CR, inform somebody in the class. Had you not participated in the discussion yesterday, I would have marked you absent.
yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
Because I do not download your attendance, at the beginning of the class or in the middle of the class. I download the attendance always at the end.
Yes,
Like today, it will be downloaded at 10:10, not before that. So anybody, if you have attended the class even till, let's say 10:07 and you have left the class, your name will not be there in the downloads, and obviously I will mark you absent. More so if you have been non-participative in the class. This is disappointing part, and your CR was calling you yesterday, so you don't even have the courtesy to attend the call.
ma'am, I was not there at home, ma'am, when he called me up.
You must have seen the missed call at some point or the other.
Ma'am, I called him. I called him back.
And did you then at least try to contact me or inform the CR the issue?
Ma'am, I have informed the CR about the issue, ma'am.
Satvik? Satvik is not joined the class till now. Who's the
Ma'am,
second
after
CR?
I called him up, I informed him.
Part
I
is your
informed him.
responsibility. I'm
Yes,
telling
ma'am.
you, I was very angry yesterday. I would have actually marked you absent, but I knew that you were present in the class. And the only
Sorry,
reason that I
ma'am.
remembered and I knew was because you were participating in the class. That's it. Please, and this is for everybody, if there is any problem that you face at any point, I mean, that's what we are teaching you in these classes, no? Communication. What are the barriers to communication? How to overcome the barriers to communication? So this is not theory that is being fed to you. This is life. These are life skills that is going to decide your success, your failure, your achievements, or your impression, your image, everything that you talk about, your relationships, formal, informal, everything, each and everything, every move that you make in your life is decided by how you communicate that move or what goes into taking that move. Every decision of your life is what? It's conversation, it's messages, it's words, it's language at the end of the day. The discussions in the class are not happening because there is a syllabus to be covered and then you have to sit for an exam one day and you just have to get some marks. Please absorb and imbibe in your life what is being discussed in the class, at least in my class. You know, Parth, you left me with an impression, irresponsible, careless approach. And I really do not know what it's going to take you to kind of change this image or impression. I'm sharing a link with you. Just a very short quiz on team building. Who is this S? Please write your full name.
Ma'am,
Yes.
have you shared any link?
Yes, I've shared a link in the chat box.
I'm not sure.
You can't see it? I'm
Ma'am, I
facing
have not got.
issues.
Ma'am, I have not got.
No, but then it's common for everybody. Teams is working erratically today, so I don't know. I'm not able to access the chat box. Somebody please reshare the link if you can. Just a moment, please. Something's wrong with Teams.
Yes, ma'am. I just got kicked for some reason.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can we
I know about one question. It's there by mistake. Yeah.
because a lot of them don't make sense.
They're just 6 questions.
Yes,
One,
ma'am.
I know it's there by mistake. It's a copy paste this thing issue. Don't bother about it. Not most of them. There's just one.
There's one more also, ma'am.
Which one?
When we go through, I'll show you.
Is the one that says I?
No, no, ma'am.
The stage in which participants say I? Then which one?
Yes, ma'am. The question 6.
I over here means yes.
Ma'am, in a group, ma'am. Ma'am, also in a group, there was a question in a group. Don't we have?
Wait, let others also complete.
Okay.
It's just 6 questions, so we can wait for the others also to complete it.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, somebody kicked me out from the game.
From the game. What's your name?
Samir.
Are you there in the game now, Samir? Did you rejoin? Samir, have you rejoined?
Ma'am, I'm trying. Ma'am, I'm trying.
Yeah,
Just
you rejoin. There are just 6 questions you will be able to attempt. Okay, so let me just wind up the quiz because most of you. Okay, Samir Chaudhary is joined now. Shantanu. Okay, please be quick. Rama, you have not even started with the quiz.
Ma'am, I joined by Rama.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, Rama Yadav was not working, so that's
No problem, no problem.
okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, I joined just now. There was some network issue.
Okay, please be quick. These are just 6 questions. In the meantime, I'm sharing my next the PPT. Let me know if it is visible. I don't know what's the problem with the Teams today. Is there any issue, Jashandeep? I'm not able to access the chat box. I don't know what's the problem.
ma'am, I got disconnected due to network issues, but now
Okay.
it's
Okay. Okay, so I am ending the game now.
Ma'am, have you shared the screen?
No, I'm sharing the PPT now. So Vihan is third, Vansh is second, and Satvik is first. Good. Right, so there were just 6 questions. And now you come up with your queries, please.
Yes, ma'am. There's one question that said, which was the one incorrect question? I don't know if that was the incorrect question, but it says the number of C's, which I said.
That is why I said it was by mistake there.
So that one was the incorrect one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because
And
there's another one in a
the
group.
I1, no. I over here, if you pay attention, I is in single quotes. I is in single quotes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what does I in single quote mean?
Yes.
What does I in single quote mean, Vihan?
I have no idea, ma'am.
Okay, what does I indicate? Personal pronoun I.
Me.
Me. I. So what is that stage in the team? Like, if, yes would rather confuse if I say yes, if I interpret I as yes, AYE. But what is that stage in the team when everyone is like, I, me? Storming. That's the phase when I is above the team. You're just getting the hang of it. You're just getting introduced to each other. So when some work is being, let's say I am telling you something about the work at hand or something. So, you're very excited also, and you're more concerned about I am going to contribute. I will be in the limelight. So I becomes more important than we. And your team development is the journey from I to we, from me to we. Right, Vihan?
Yes, ma'am. But that wasn't the question I had.
Okay, I thought you were referring to that question only.
No, ma'am. I was asking.
I'm so sorry. But I must say you are a very patient listener, Vihan. And that's a trait that you must always, you must carry it with you, because very few people have this tendency to, listen to people even when they already know what is the context that is being talked about. Good.
Thank
Yes,
you, ma'am.
Yes.
The question is, in a group, and there's 4 options: have a common goal, mutual responsibilities, have a boss, have a decision.
Yes, ma'am. Have a boss.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Have
ma'am.
a
Yes.
boss.
So what is the confusion? I expected, actually, I did expect there will be questions here. So what is the confusion, Vihan?
The correct answer apparently was to have a boss,
Boss?
whereas I thought it would be to have a common goal.
Same here,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Same.
Of mutual responsibilities.
Actually,
Yes,
We
ma'am.
began our discussion of team building. Is my screen visible?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, not now.
Wait, I'll share it again.
No, ma'am.
We began our discussion with what? We began our discussion with what is a team, what is a group, who is a leader. You remember in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
And if I'm
Yes,
not
ma'am.
wrong, Vihan, were you the one, or it could be maybe it was Parth or somebody who gave the answer that a team will have a common goal, will have consensus, but a group, every individual member will have their own personal. So how can you say that? How can you justify that a group will have a common goal?
I understand now, ma'am.
Got it, no, Vihan? Yeah. I hope the others have also got their answer. That's
Yes,
the
ma'am.
basic difference between a group and a team. Team will always work towards a common purpose, which may not necessarily be the case with a team. Right? So if you have any doubts, please clarify. No problem. Yeah.
Ma'am, but in a group there is no leader. A team has a leader.
But there can be a boss. Boss is somebody who can dictate terms to people. Boss, the word used over there is not a leader. It's boss. And then you always have to see, and one more interpretation that I will give you is when you have multiple choice questions, you have to select the closest possible answer. Is there any other closest possible answer to this question? There is no other closest possible option, right? This is how you prepare for your various entrance exams also, right? Logic, reasoning, and you have to be prepared for your final exams, wherein the options will be like which is the closest possible right answer. One of the sections, section B in your paper, will deal with not right or wrong answer, but which is the best possible explanation of the question. You will find that maybe all 4 answers they are absolutely correct, but which is more correct? Right? Fine. So in that case, I have unfortunately now closed the window. What were the other 3 options?
Have a common goal, have mutual responsibilities, and make decision.
Third one?
Make decision in meeting.
So all 3 are not possible in a group, no? So which option is left? Boss. That right? In a group there will be somebody addressing them. Have you observed? Bheed. There is somebody who is above the crowd or that group addressing the group, or somebody taking the lead in the group. There will be somebody. So the boss.
Ma'am, there is a difference between boss and leader.
Yes, of course. That's what I emphasized right in the beginning, that nowhere the option mentions leader. It mentions boss. Don't we use the word boss to boss around? It's not used in positive connotation, right? So given the 4 options, Vihan, you had raised your hand. No. Vanshveer?
Yes, ma'am. Now I get it.
You got the point, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, fine. Divyam, you had been raising your hand for quite some time. Yes, Divyam.
Ma'am, that was my question.
Okay. So, yes, Sahil.
There is one question which said number of questions which I said. The options were 5 is to 10, 10 is to 15, and 15. And the right option was
I
10.
mentioned it in the beginning. I think there is some. I think you
Can you hear me?
reconnect. Maybe there is a lot of disturbance.
Ma'am, someone's mic is on.
Yeah. I'll
I
mute
think
everybody.
Deepak Sharma.
Okay. Now it's fine. I had said in the beginning that it is a copy mistake error. Copy paste mistake.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So let us begin. These quizzes are just a preparation for you people for your minor and major exams. Clear? So and remember, because the pattern of the paper will be like, section A will be section A might have one correct answer, others will be wrong. Section C might have one correct answers, others will be wrong. Section B will be very tricky. Section B will be very tricky. All the 4 options or 5 options in front of you, maybe in 1 or 2 cases you might have one wrong option, but the rest of the options or all the options will be very closely interconnected or interrelated. You will have to select the closest possible answer, or the answer which is more complete, the answer which is more appropriate, right? Because all the answers you'll feel that all the answers are correct. I will give you one such question in the exams. So that will give you good practice, right? So let us begin with our discussion on the next topic. Parth, is there something that you want to say? Parth Bansal?
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Yes, so the next topic that we're going to begin our discussion on is non-verbal communication, or in common parlance what people often refer to as body language. But body language is just part of non-verbal communication. What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. Please interpret it. What do you mean by this statement? What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say.
He is interpreting that you speak very slowly. Even I cannot listen you. But in the case, he is saying loudly.
Actions?
Okay. Yes. What about actions? Not exactly there.
No.
What about actions? Please elaborate. Always be very clear.
Ma'am, the actions which he is doing in order to pass his point are so so broad that he was not able to get to a single point what he was trying to say.
Ma'am, one more thing I would like to add in actions. It's
Yes.
that sometimes we do things and what we are saying are just the opposite of what we are doing. So
Very
it's
good.
pretty clear. It's
Yes.
pretty clear that what we are acting, it's yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, Vihan.
Ma'am, he's saying that you can say anything, but it's what you do that defines you.
Your actions. Yes. Yes,
Bas-
Divya.
Actions speak louder than words type.
Yes. Yes, Divyam.
I stole my line.
Okay, stole your line. Okay. Okay,
Sorry.
fine. No problem. Parth Batra. Parth Batra is not in the class.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Parth. Parth, the moment has passed.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Parth.
Hello.
Yeah, please. What is your interpretation of the statement?
Ma'am, I think body language is something which can define, like how can someone be.
Parth, there is some audio issue at your end.
Hello.
Your hello is clear, but after that, nothing is properly audible. Okay, Vansh.
The body language of a person has more impact than his words.
Yes, the simplest words that what you do, what your body is communicating, what your eyes are communicating, what your gestures, what your facial expressions, they communicate. That is more clear an indicator of what are you actually trying to say than the words that you're using to communicate your thoughts. You know, they say body never lies. Why body doesn't lie? Because it is, it doesn't know how to lie. We can, it is non-verbal communication is beyond our control. It is involuntary in nature. So whatever, we can only to a certain extent limit our body language. But apart from that, if ever you fix a camera at home, or even just now when the recordings are happening, okay, because you observe me, I'm sure there are certain expressions on my face, there are certain gestures that I make, there are certain posture related certain idiosyncrasies at times, you may call them, that you may notice in me. Or often I'm told by people I have the habit of touching my nose like this while talking. So these are certain aspects of our communication that we don't realize, that are communicating so many different things to different people. Or let's take a very common example. You are jealous of somebody, right? And but you need to congratulate, and we generally are jealous of people close to us. It's ironical but true. And you need to congratulate that person. So sometimes your words, that congratulations coming from your mouth, the tone doesn't support that excitement which should actually be there. That excitement, that energy level is minus from your tone. Yeah, congratulations. So you know your manner of speaking or conducting yourself is enough to communicate to the other person that okay, the person is not really happy. During the interview, people observe your non-verbal communication. People observe how you're seated. People observe, is your body, like we always tell the students, sit straight during the interview. But if you're sitting like this, what does this indicate? If you're
Low
sitting,
confidence.
You
yeah,
think of
I'm too conscious, nervous, right? And if somebody is sitting like this, what does this indicate?
you think of yourself as a bigger person,
Powerful. Yeah, you
powerful,
have
You.
confidence. You
arrogant.
Influence.
It can be arrogance also. It can be interpreted in so many different ways. Now see, did I utter even a single word, but you had so many adjectives to define me. So what I do speaks louder than what I speak, what I say. Hence, we must understand the nitty-gritties of non-verbal communication, right? So non-verbal communication, as the word itself says, it refers to the unwritten, unspoken messages, which can be both intentional and unintentional, which I just now said that there are sometimes we intentionally use our body language to communicate something, like we use our hand like this to indicate somebody to stop. Or what does this mean? How will you interpret this?
You have said enough.
Yes.
Yes.
Enough. Right. So, and this is a gesture. When somebody does like this, it hits harder than if I say enough. Right. And even that enough must have a certain expression. Must be will be accompanied by a certain expression and certain tonality in your voice, and then it will be able to communicate that particular emotion or that particular feeling to you. So what are the characteristics of non-verbal communication? First point, why does it say non-verbal communication exists?
And because we don't focus that much on non-verbal communication.
Exactly. We don't even realize that there is, some people, that there is something known as certain aspect of communication which is non-verbal, and it is very, very important. 80% of the message of the, rather it is 73% of our contribution of the meaning depends upon the non-verbal aspect of your message. Even when we talk about the written communication, like we say that written communication, the non-verbal message is absent, but it is still present in the forms of signs, symbols, all these emojis, emoticons that you use. That is part of extension of non-verbal communication. Your selection of words. When we are looking for intention in your write-up, the intention in your write-up gets indicated by the sentence structure, paragraph structure, choice of words, the expression that you're using. All these indicate your mood, indicate your intention, indicate your mindset. And as a leader, as a team member, you have to be very careful of your non-verbal communication. You observe these public figures, or you observe these political leaders. They are very, very cautious of their body language. They are very, very, some of them undergo a training, a thorough training into their non-verbal communication. Just a few days ago, maybe a month back or so, I read this article that Alia Bhatt is, heavily criticized by the press for her bad body language. And there were certain images that were shared, or certain videos that were shared, and that she is she's going for training in non-verbal communication to, I believe, Singapore or something. Someplace, yeah, Singapore only. So imagine, is it that important? The presidential candidates for in the US, they undergo rigorous non-verbal training, you can say, so to say, because every gesture, every movement of their counts. Everything is scrutinized. I'm going to share one of the videos with you, not just now, but later. And you will find that how ruthless journalists are when it comes to interpreting each and every aspect of your body language. So these people, or when they are in the United Nations, when you're addressing, when you're delivering a speech, observe them how they speak. Very body language, very controlled, because not just your words, but every aspect of yours is being closely monitored, very closely monitored, right? So nonverbal communication has communication values. Who will interpret this point? What do you understand by that?
And it adds to the content that we are trying to communicate by verbal communication.
Okay, that's one. Yes, what else? Non-verbal communication has communication values. Yes, Vihan?
I'm not entirely sure, ma'am, but I think the same rules that apply to a person when they're communicating verbally also apply during non-verbal communication.
Can you further clarify it? Like, what do you mean by the same rules that are
Well,
applied?
there are many ways people can speak. So people can, I don't know, you can say something nicely, or you can say something rudely. Similarly, your body language can also be either accommodating and opening, whereas it can also be distant.
Very, very nicely interpreted. Yes, absolutely acceptable interpretation. Anybody else? who may have some different take on that. Non-verbal communication has communication values. I agree to both of them that when you talk about non-verbal communication, it has a lot of aspects of the normal communication that we talk about. Like you said, the same principles or the same rules or the same values are very closely intertwined with the body language also, right? Primarily relational. That is, it is contextual in nature. Non-verbal communication is contextual. Okay, fine. You can also come up with your view. What do you understand by non-verbal communication being relational? Yes, Vanshika? Vanshika Jain?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you mean by non-verbal communication being relational?
Sorry, ma'am, I don't know about this.
Okay, you can try and think.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, Sameer? Yes, Parth?
Ma'am, different persons interpret non-verbal communication differently. But if the two persons are related, then certain actions performed by one individual can be understood in better way by the other if they previously know each other.
If they know, they understand each other. Okay, that's an acceptable interpretation. Yes, anybody else? See, you can also interpret it the way Parth said, right? That if mutually we know each other, we understand each other, the possibility of understanding each other's non-verbal communication is high. Or also it means that it depends from situation to situation, right? Gender and culture affect non-verbal communication. And, you know, culture plays a very crucial role in the interpretation of body language or non-verbal messages. Every culture has its own set norms regarding what is acceptable behavior, what is unacceptable behavior when it comes to non-verbal communication. And it is always suggested, whenever you venture into a new country, new culture, always study about their code of conduct. And see, the verbal messages, the do's and don'ts are very clear, but you must always research well regarding what are the non-verbal taboos, or what are the acceptable and unacceptable norms of non-verbal communication that are prevalent in that particular culture or that society. That is, some cultures are very open, other cultures are very closed, right? So accordingly, the manner in which they interpret non-verbal communication will vary. What effect has gender on non-verbal communication? Can gender also impact non-verbal communication? Okay, Parth, I'll come to you, but later. Just let others also participate. Chetan Sharma. Chetan Sharma, are you there in the class? It is the 9:15 class, quite early, I know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, Chetan. So what is the correlation between gender and its impact on culture? How does gender affect non-verbal communication? Were you thinking about it, Chetan? No? Yes, Chetan? Unmute yourself, Chetan. Chetan Sharma. Okay, Ibrahim.
Yes, ma'am. I don't think I have like a lot of ideas for this question about gender and culture.
Okay, okay. Yes, Parth.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, this is related to gender because of stereotypes, we can say, because girls are do to tends to do something which is according to social norms, and boys are supposed to do what is according to social norms. So according to this, we can say that it is dependent on gender.
Gender, very, very good example that there are certain stereotypes related to the gender, to the behavioral patterns, how girls are supposed to sit and stand and conduct themselves, right? And how boys, they can have unabashed style. Good. Yes, Aditya.
Ma'am, a particular person behaves differently in front of different gender. Like he or she will behave differently in front of boys and behave differently in front of girls.
And that's how, because we have been conditioned to think.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Good. Yes, Vansh, you had raised your hand.
Ma'am, I also was talking about the social
Same
norms.
point. Okay. Yes, Vihan. Good.
Ma'am, there's a new movie that's come out on Netflix. It brings about
Which
this
movie?
gender and it's called Enola Holmes.
Okay.
It's a whole concept about Sherlock Holmes' younger sister, and it's set in a really old sort of time where everyone tended to be more aggressive towards women, especially how women should act, etc. It provides a great understanding about how, insight on how gender and culture affect nonverbal communication.
Okay, yet to watch this movie. Now I definitely will. Right. So yes, that's how, you know, gender, and it's not just about women. It's about every kind of gender, like we discussed in when we were discussing barriers, that every kind of gender is, we expect, okay, very common example, we expect people belonging to the LGBTQ community that they will, you know, if somebody is gay, then that person has to behave in a certain way. So only that kind of a body language will kind of you know, segregate this person as, okay, fine, this person is gay, or this person is lesbian or whatever. So we attach certain stereotypes to gender behavior, right? That this is how the body language of different people according to their gender should be, right? So yes, it affects the non-verbal communication, and it is ambiguous. Why do we refer to non-verbal communication as ambiguous? Why? What is so ambiguous about non-verbal communication? Yes, Aditya?
Ma'am, I'm not sure, but it's because it's open to interpretation.
Yes, it's open to interpretation. Very true. Yes, Parth?
It exists, but we cannot control it. So because of this.
Okay. It is there. We cannot control it. Will not be that direct an interpretation, but like what Aditya said, because it is confusing. Like in one of the classes, I had given this example that there is a certain tribe in Africa, which when they say yes, they move their head like this, and when they say no, they nod like this. So is it not confusing? Because when we say yes, we do like this, and when we say no, we do like this. Isn't it?
Ma'am, isn't
This
this
symbol
a social...
can mean different things in different cultures.
Isn't this a cultural barrier?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. No, this is a cultural barrier also. But this is related to non-verbal communication also. It is a cultural barrier. If we do not understand that culture, but we understand that culture, it will not be a cultural barrier. Right. So that is why non-verbal communication, because it is open to interpretation, it changes with the context, right? It can be a same thing, like, you know, when I sat like this, you had 2-3 different interpretations of the same posture. Fine. So that is why it is ambiguous. How it may be taken or interpreted by the other person, we really do not know. Now, what are the functions of non-verbal communication? This is what non-verbal communication you know, does. What repeating. Repetition is the function for emphasis. If I am repeating something, it it doesn't mean that people who are listening to me, they are, you know, dumb or something. But my repetition means drawing attention to something. My repetition means emphasis on certain aspect. Substituting, I think it is self-explanatory. a non-verbal communication, it substitutes its verbal counterpart. Many a time we don't even use words to communicate our intention or whatever we want to say. It complements the verbal communication. They both work in unison with each other. If what you are saying is exactly what is going on in your mind, then non-verbal communication will always complement what is there, the message that you're saying. If you're deceiving somebody, if you're lying, if what you say is different from what is actually going on in your mind, you will always notice that something is amiss in the body language of that person. Right? You will find pretense or the lack of eye contact or too sustained or long in eye contact or not very frequent eye contact. So many different ways of interpreting the intention of the other person. Accenting. What do you mean by accenting over here? Now, accenting over here has two different interpretations. That is, it accents, it kind of highlights something that you want to say. And accenting over here, the second interpretation can also be, it has to do with your paralinguistic ability, which we will deal when we deal with the paralanguage skills. So it accents, it is like it draws the attention to something. Then it regulates the behavior. If I do like this, I can stop you from further speaking, right? Like I still remember when I was presenting the paper for the first time in a conference and my guide was sitting right in front of me. So as a first timer, you have that tendency of, I am going to read out everything that I've written. And I still remember, the gesture that she was making with her hands. And I wouldn't pay attention to her, but she was regulating my behavior, trying to regulate my behavior, contradicting. Just now I gave the example, if your mind and your words, they do not match your intention, then the body language will contradict your message. It can also deceive. You tell me, how can body language deceive? Yes,
The
Divya.
example you gave
Yes.
of the type which nods if they are saying no and the other way for yes. So someone who is not familiar with that tribe will be deceived by their body language.
Okay. Yes, that's one. Yes, Vansh.
Ma'am, if there is some habit or activity of a person that the other person finds kind of irritating, then he will not focus on his work or some words.
Okay, fine. That's another. Good. Yes, Aditya.
Ma'am, if you do not focus on your body language, ma'am, people may wrongly interpret what you want to say.
Okay, that's contradiction. That's contradiction. Yes, Parth.
Like someone is trying to think of something else while responding to some other person. So if the person is trying to congratulate the other person, but he was very stressed out, so he might not show that much uh, non-verbal communication. So the other person might thought that he was not happy. So
Okay. Okay.
miscommunication.
Okay. In simple ways, you can sometimes control your nervousness during the presentation, during the interview, and make the other people believe that you are very confident. Right? But if the other person is very, knows or understands non-verbal communication, during your interaction, there will be a moment when your pretense will give up. How long can you pretend? There is a moment when your real self emerges. But diplomats, politicians, all these people, they are seasoned, they are groomed into exhibiting certain kind of a body language or non-verbal communication, which communicates what the public wants to see, right? So that's something about non-verbal communication. We will continue our discussion on the non-verbal aspects in the next class. Till that time, find out about it, research about it, and come up with your observations and queries, if any. Right? So have a wonderful day ahead. Stay safe, stay healthy.